All right, let's jump right into this explainer and uncover the really fascinating and honestly kind of risky intersection of Rhode Island's industrial history and your home's hidden infrastructure. Look, if you live in a historic home, you probably absolutely love the character, the stunning architecture, and that undeniable sense of the past. But what you might not be thinking about is exactly what's running behind those beautiful plaster walls. Today, we're exploring the very unique plumbing challenges facing Pawtucket homeowners. We're drawing these insights straight from the experts at Cornerstone Plumbing Providence, all to give you the exact knowledge you need to protect your property. So, before we map out all the granular details, we really have to ask ourselves, what exactly is waiting to fail in the basements and walls of our century-old neighborhoods? We're talking about homes built way back between 1880 and 1940. This includes those iconic triple-deckers and mill-worker homes that give the city so much of its charm. But right beneath those historic floorboards, you've got plumbing systems that have been silently enduring a full century of daily use, house settling, and wild New England weather swings. In a lot of cases, they are quite literally ticking time bombs. Here is a quick look at how we're breaking things down today. First, Pawtucket's historic plumbing challenges. Second, common local plumbing disasters. Third, the Cornerstone service process. Fourth, Rhode Island plumbing codes. And fifth, protecting your home and wallet.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Pawtucket's historic plumbing challenges, specifically looking at that industrial legacy.
You know, it's not just that these houses are old, it's the highly specific environment they were built in. Sitting right there at the confluence of the Blackstone and Seekonk rivers, this city boasts some incredible history as the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution. It's home to Slater Mill, right? But that exact same history means aging, stressed infrastructure. Plus, the Blackstone River's deep history as an industrial waterway left behind soil conditions that actually accelerate pipe corrosion in neighborhoods like Quality Hill and Darlington. And if that wasn't enough, sitting near these rivers means you're dealing with a high water table, which spells serious, serious trouble during those spring snowmelts. It's honestly a wild contrast. You've got this stunning, historic architecture up top, but it's completely relying on failing 100-year-old pipes down below. If your home was built before 1960, it almost certainly contains galvanized steel supply pipes. The problem? Those corrode from the inside out, slowly restricting your water flow until it's barely a trickle. And those heavy cast iron drain lines from the 1920s? Well, they are cracking and crumbling right now from decades of thermal expansion and ground settling. Moving right along to Section 2, Common Local Plumbing Disasters. Let's look at what happens when things actually go wrong. So what are the usual suspects here? We're talking corroding supply lines killing your water pressure and those old, brittle clay pipes allowing tree roots to just smash their way in, causing massive sewer backups. When we get heavy rains, it easily overwhelms the aging municipal systems. And you know what that means? It pushes raw sewage straight back into basements, especially through floor drains and downstairs toilets. And if you live in neighborhoods like Woodlawn or Fairlawn near the rivers, that high water table can turn a heavy spring rain into a foot of water in your basement before you even know what's happening. Now here is a really crucial point. When those harsh Rhode Island winters drop below 20 degrees, water sitting in the exposed pipes of unheated, drafty triple-decker basements will freeze. It expands, and then it violently bursts. This is a massive, massive issue. A frozen pipe completely blocks the water flow, the expanding ice ruptures the metal, and once it finally thaws, boom, you have water just flooding through your walls, your ceilings, and your living spaces in minutes. And trust me, getting a 2 a.m. ice water shower in your basement is definitely not how you want to wake up. Okay, this part is fascinating. It's called the 13-degree rule, and it perfectly explains why DIY plumbing jobs in these multi-story homes fail so spectacularly. Drain lines need a very, very specific slope. We're talking a drop of exactly 1/4 inch per foot minimum, but no more than 1/2 inch per foot. It's the Goldilocks zone. If the slope is too flat, the water just sits there and clogs form. If it's too steep, the water rushes away too fast and, well, leaves the solid waste behind. When vertical drains meet horizontal runs, they need to form roughly a 135-degree angle for everything to flow smoothly. Well-meaning DIYers miss this precise math all the time, and that's exactly what causes chronic, nasty backups in these tall, older buildings. Let's jump to Section 3, the Cornerstone service process. Here's a professional solution for these headaches. They've stripped this down to a highly efficient 3-step process to get a licensed pro to your door fast. Step 1, immediate dispatch. You aren't leaving a panicked voicemail and praying. You actually reach a live human who sends a truck, averaging an under 45-minute response time in Pawtucket. Step 2 is diagnosis. They use high-tech cameras to actually inspect the drains, followed by clear, upfront quoting. No high-pressure sales, just the facts. And step 3 is getting the job done, with quality materials, testing the whole system, and most importantly, actually cleaning up before they head out. This comparison right here highlights a huge advantage. Flat rate pricing completely protects you from the time padding and those massive midnight surcharges that are, frankly, way too common in the trade. In the Providence area, your typical hourly plumber charges between $85 and $150 an hour, and that doesn't even include trip fees or weekend surcharges. By using a flat rate model, Cornerstone guarantees that the price they quote you at 3 p.m. is the exact same price they'll quote you at 3 a.m. It entirely removes the anxiety of watching a ticking clock while someone works on your pipes. Which brings us to Section 4, Rhode Island Plumbing Codes. Strict compliance is the name of the game here. Listen, Rhode Island has some of the absolute strictest plumbing codes in all of New England. They rigorously enforce the 2015 International Plumbing Code, complete with their own specific local amendments. You need backflow preventers, expansion tanks, precise venting, and exact pipe materials. And here's the kicker. Unpermitted DIY work will straight up void your homeowner's insurance. Plus, it can completely derail the future sale of your home. If a buyer's inspector finds unpermitted plumbing hacks, you could be forced to pay out of pocket to completely rip it out and reinstall it up to code.
And finally, Section 5, protecting your home and wallet. Let's get you empowered.
Imagine you're panicked. Water is pouring into your hallway from a burst pipe. How do you make absolutely sure the person knocking at your door isn't a scammer? It is unfortunately super common for bad actors to swoop in and take advantage of homeowners during a chaotic emergency. You need to watch out for these massive red flags. A legitimate, proud professional will happily show you their Rhode Island journeyman or master plumber license. Beware of anybody pushing for cash-only deals or pulling up in a truck with a cheap, generic magnetic sign slapped on the door. But the biggest red flag? Anyone who discourages you from pulling necessary city permits in Pawtucket. If they try to tell you a permit is just a hassle and you should skip it, that is a glaring sign they probably aren't even licensed to pull one in the first place.
But hey, even when you find a legit contractor, you still need to be really careful about what you say during negotiations. The words you use can unintentionally signal to a contractor that they have the green light to inflate the price.
For example, never, ever say you're in a desperate rush or that you don't have other options because that immediately invites price gouging. Don't announce that you know absolutely nothing about plumbing either. Just ask smart, clarifying questions instead. And definitely never ask to skip permits or pay under the table to avoid taxes. As we just learned, doing that basically tells them you are perfectly fine hiring unlicensed workers, which puts your entire property and your wallet at massive risk. Just as a solid rule of thumb for any major plumbing project, always pad your budget by about 20%. Opening up the walls in older Pawtucket homes almost always reveals a few hidden complications. Ripping out those heavy, old cast iron pipes often requires wall or floor repairs. You might stumble upon asbestos or lead pipes that suddenly need professional abatement, or if you're replacing a main sewer line, you might suddenly have to pay for unexpected landscaping or sidewalk restoration. That 20% buffer is going to save you so much stress. Older homes have incredible charm, for sure, but they also really love to hide expensive secrets.
So, what's the ultimate takeaway from this explainer? Be proactive. Get to know your home's history and keep an eagle eye out for warning signs like low water pressure or slow, gurgling drains. Your historic home is a beautiful piece of architecture, but the infrastructure keeping it running is fragile. The only question left is, are you going to address the problem today, or are you going to wait for a 2 a.m. winter flood to find out exactly what's hiding inside your walls?